With 7 years under its belt, the Nintendo Switch is on track to being the highest selling console of all time, just beaten out by the Nintendo DS and the PlayStation 2. But with its aging hardware, rumors of a next console from Nintendo, and fierce new competition like the Steam Deck, woo! Is this console still worth picking up and playing? Is it even worth getting if you're someone who's never got a Switch console yet? Stick around and let's find out. So I'm someone who's had the Nintendo Switch since the beginning. I even got my initial pre-order stolen and made a whole story time video about that, but that's neither here or there. I've been here since day one on March 3rd, 2017. Well, technically March 4th, because it got stolen. And my initial impressions of getting the Switch after having the Wii U, was just how much lighter it was, and the fact that you basically had everything without the giant brick. It was the gamepad, but that was the console. And the whole gimmick being able to switch it from being able to play on a TV docked or playing it handheld undocked was quite revolutionary for the time. Like, I don't think there was many other consoles using that as their gimmick, if at all. And Nintendo, which are a company known for their gimmicks, them deciding to have a gimmick which is both functional and marketable was a incredibly smart decision business-wise and just convenience-wise and tech-wise and just experience-wise. I think as the years have gone on, I've seen the Switch maybe not as special as the other Nintendo consoles, but it is an example of the console. It is a perfect gaming device through and through, both because of its button layout, the fact that it's a Swiss Army knife in terms of being able to have a touchscreen that works, being able to have motion controls, gyro controls, NFC readers, everything you would want from a console, both developer-wise and consumer-wise. The Switch is the perfect little entertainment device. Now, back in 2017, did we really think that? A little bit. I think people sort of got onto that being like, whoa, this could be big, this is smart, this is convenient, everyone can enjoy this. And as the years went on, we just got a bigger reason to purchase and get a Switch, which is its game library. Big game after big game, you know. 2017, we already had Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Breath of the Wild, of course, at launch. 2018, we got Octo Expansion, which was a fantastic DLC. We got Smash Bros. Ultimate. Not really much else. I would say 2018 was probably the most shallow year in terms of new content, which we got. 2019 was pretty big. We got Luigi's Mansion 3. I can't really remember what else we got there, but I remember 2019 being a pretty good year. 2020, we got Animal Crossing, of course, finally. I was waiting for that game for ages, and of course, it came at the perfect timing, fortunately and unfortunately. For reasons we all know. 2021, what did we really get in 2021? We got Bowser's Fury, I know at least. That was a great game. 2022, we got Splatoon 3. 2023, we got Pikmin 4 and Tears of the Kingdom, just to name a few. This console has become a juggernaut in terms of not just third-party and indie, but Nintendo's mainline first-party titles. There's not many big heavy hitters from across Nintendo's history that isn't on Switch yet, apart from a few Zelda titles, I'd say. Pretty much every Mario game is on here except for Mario Galaxy 2 and 3D Land, which is quite a shame because both of those are quite fun. And so I see the argument right now of, oh, the Switch is on its final legs. There's no point in playing it anymore. The Switch is dead. Waiting for the next console. Don't buy it. Oh, I'm playing the Steam Deck instead. Which I'll get onto in a minute. I have a good point about that. But I think those people are missing the trees for the forest, where they're looking at what's new, what's ahead of them, and just focusing on that. Just on a conveyor belt of game after game after game after game. And when you think about it in that context, when you zoom out and just see the system of what we have with just games being churned out, that doesn't meld well for me in terms of like why I enjoy video games, you know? We shouldn't just be expecting what's new, what's next, and just focusing on that. I think the history and the museum we have built up of incredible experiences for us all to play and get creative from and get all these like flowing juices going, that is the focus. And I would say the Switch in 2017, that was a moment where you're like, oh, what's next? Okay, because there was such a sparse amount of games out. You know, you didn't really have that much to play. Of course, we had, you know, Breath of the Wild, we had Snipper Clips, we had ARMS, one of the best games ever made, according to 7 people. But that argument now, feels so contradictory to the landscape we're in, you know? Like, focusing on what's next is ridiculous when there's so many games we still haven't played, you know? Like, I only started playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 last year. I still haven't finished that game. I'd love to finish that game. I want to finish that game. I still haven't beaten Tears of a Kingdom. I haven't done the final boss yet. I still got to do that. I got to sink my teeth into Pikmin 1 and 2. And not to mention the incredible indie lineup like Hollow Knight, Here Comes Nico, Penny's Big Breakaway, which just came out, A Short Hike, so many Little Gaia game, so many incredible little experiences, which I doubt you watching this have experienced all of them. Or many of the people complaining about, oh, we got to get the next Switch, the Switch is over, have experienced. Have they played all of the games? I'd say if you're someone complaining about, oh, the Switch is so boring this year, oh, we have no new games coming out. First off, we do. And second off, look at the library you have at your disposal. Even for historical purposes with the NSO Switch Online service, you have NES, SNES, N64, GBA, Game Boy Color, a bunch of games. Like, come on. I feel like that argument is just so pointless to have. And I think so many people sharing that sentiment of, oh, Switch is on its final legs, you know, probably not worth playing, it's time to gather dust. It's just a little bit silly in my eyes. The only reason I could see it gathering dust is if you're experiencing this on a better experienced console. And so that's where the Steam Deck comes in. Now, hold on for a second, because I feel like there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to the Steam Deck when compared to the Switch. So overall, right, the Steam Deck has better power. It has, I would say, maybe a similar size library, although you don't get the main first-party Nintendo games. It has the modding capabilities of a PC. It is literally a portable PC. It has the same plug-and-play capabilities of a Switch. Like, you know, you can dock it into a TV and play it like that. I've been doing that with Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is incredible. It's so much fun to do that, and the fact that I can do that is, like, mind-blowing. I'm like, oh, wait, this is like a Switch and a PC. It's crazy. Elden Ring on the go. But there is a hindrance to it, and I'd say the finickiness when it comes to that, because the fact that it's a PC, or just the idea of it being a PC console, I think that is very much so in the Steam Deck's DNA with all its junk and little finicky parts. Because I'm having this error where I try and play Yakuza and it says, oh, open 3D error occurred, and it's like, come on, I just want to play this. I just want to, like, you know, and that's an issue which you don't get with the Switch, you know. And the Switch is for people who are both casual and hardcore gamers, right? Gamers of all types. And so, because of its ease of use, because anyone can pick up and get any game on it with no problems whatsoever, software-wise at least, I'm not going to talk about the controller situation, that is so important to remember. And that begs the question for something like the Switch OLED, or upgrading to the Switch OLED. If you're someone who hasn't got a Switch console at all, you haven't got a single one yet and you don't own a Switch, get a Switch OLED right now. I cannot recommend that enough. It doesn't even matter when the Switch 2 comes out, because you're still going to have so many fun games to play on that. The only reason you'd want to get the next console when it comes out is from FOMO, you know? And so if you can control your FOMO, who cares? You can experience as much fun as you want and be completely fine. And then the other question arises if you're already a Switch owner and if it's worth upgrading to something like the Switch OLED, or getting something like a Steam Deck, or both, or simply waiting for the Switch 2. Now, if you already have a good working Switch, I think there's really not that much reason to upgrade, you know? Like, you've got it working, you can play all these games, that's great. But if you're finding yourself with it gathering dust and, you know, like, not really experiencing those games because of its hindrances in terms of smaller screen size, lack of ease of use, then I would say getting a Switch OLED might be worth it, because then you can experience those games better and you can actually play those games which you might be missing out otherwise and get incredible imaginative experiences which you would get nowhere else, which you would actually play. Then that's a case of I would recommend getting a Switch OLED. And one reason I would say this more than other things is the aspect of hand-me-downs. I think going from the Switch, you know, the default Switch from 2017 to the Switch OLED, or even the Switch Lite to the Switch OLED, is a decent jump and a very good thumbs up jump, where it's sort of similar but better in every single way, where you are free to hand me down your previous Switch with no issue of remorse or regret or like emotional attachment. Because I'm gonna be honest, The Switch does not have that much personality to its benefit in this situation, because then sharing a previous console versus having it gather dust in a cabinet or something is so much easier, because you don't have that fun attachment to, oh, I grew up with this, oh, it's so pretty and nice, like certain, custom 3DSs or special editions and stuff. Like I have a Link Between Worlds special edition 3DS, and like that I'm keeping, and I keep sacred, and I don't want to give away at all, because it's like, ooh. But the Switch doesn't really have that much when it comes to that. Sure, we have a few special editions, but if you have the basic Switch from 2017, getting a nicer Switch OLED, I think, is no problem whatsoever. And, you're not going to regret giving that previous one away if you get that nice, juicy, upgraded one. But that brings a bigger disappointment and sadness when talking about the Switch, which its lack of personality. Now, this has been discussed, across the board a million times. The Switch is very, very dull in terms of its personality, which is very surprising for Nintendo, but I can see why they did that with the Switch. It fits its aesthetic, it fits its meaning, it fits that same thing I was saying in terms of the lack of personality means it is used just as a vehicle to play games, and simply is that, which does get me personally a little bit sad, because I'm someone who loves UX and loves UI design, and I think Nintendo's consoles is what put me to have such a love for that. And so I feel like if I was a kid and the Switch was my first console, I wouldn't get that same sort of fondness for a design trope and something I hold so dear to my heart and love so much if I grew up with a Switch instead, if that makes sense. And I really hope that gets fixed with the next console. And the only other thing I would say in terms of getting the Steam Deck over the Switch, which I vastly prefer, is, and the reason I would only get a game on Steam Deck instead of a Switch, isn't because of its amount of power. That would just be for games which are exclusive to Steam Deck. That's why I would get them. It's more so a case of its community aspect and the friends list and the achievements and being able to show that to your friends. And, there's a social aspect to playing on the Steam Deck that isn't on the Switch. And I just wish the Switch had that more. Achievements, come on, Nintendo. Bring back Miiverse. Bring back Street Pass Plaza. That is what will keep me staying on that, being able to, share these experiences with my mates, with my friends, in a really fun, silly way. And it's just like, that's what's lacking. But hopefully that'll be a case with the new console, which will be very, very fun. And again, because the Switch doesn't have that, there's a lack of emotion attached to it, where it's like, oh, this is just a vehicle for games. And it's a perfect vehicle for games. And you can customize it however you want. You can put stickers on it. You can do this. You can do that. It's such a blank slate where it's great for everyone. And I think the Switch right now, in its 7th year, is its penultimate version of that, and it's only going to get better for the next year. Maybe 2025, there's going to be like little to no games coming out for the Switch, but I think we'll still get Switch games in 2028, if I'm honest, even when the new console is out. There's still going to be Switch support for years to come. And so, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you like my points? Do you hate my points? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to continue discussing the whole Switch malarkey stuff, you can join the Discord server, The Island. It's linked below. It's the top pinned comment. Join there, talk with me, talk with other like-minded Nintendo nerds and people like us, where we can, geek out on how aesthetically pleasing the Wii U's menus are. Anyways, with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of your day, and bye. See ya.